table topics will be a lot of fun. I have developed 4 table topics. They are each themed. Actually, I have developed 3, and Adam Shue has contributed 1. And at the end, I will tell you which one Adam contributed and which ones I did, if you're not able to guess. Table topics are going to run a little bit longer today for our timer here. Each table topics subject has 8 slides. That means that each table topic will run 2 minutes and 40 seconds in length. So I would like the table topics to be between 2 and 3 minutes. I will tell you that some of the topics are arranged so that you could build a story. Some of them are not necessarily story conducive, thank you, thank you. What I would recommend is that you take each slide individually, and then somewhere, probably by the 2nd or 3rd slide, you will probably get a feel for where this series of slides is going. Because there are 8 slides, what I will do is begin cueing you when you get to slide 6. I will hold up 3 fingers indicating that you have 3 slides left. When you get to 7, you have 2 slides left. When you get to, am I doing this wrong? 6, yes, 6, 7, and 8, and that will be your last slide. So when you're down to no more slides, you know you need to wrap it up in about 20 seconds. Any questions about the format?
What?
It will be fun. This will test your creativity.
Now, which slide does the middle finger come up on?
I'm going to choose my fingers carefully. No rude gestures from your tabletop master today. Do I have a volunteer who will lead this group? Very good. Thank you, Ed. Because you were first, you get to choose your category. There are 4 possibilities here. No, you don't get to pick one. They are pre-selected. The canoe trip, find a card, my cat is super, and all in the family. Which one do you choose?
I'll take cats for 100, please.
Very good. Okay.
Now,
I have one question of Sean before we. Sean, is it true that the most favorite part of your body for you is your ear?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, Jerry didn't start off with the title slide, so I need you to do this. Come on over here. No, stand right here. And when I say go, turn around, your first slide will be on.
That's a lot of confidence.
Are you ready?
Sure.
Go.
I have a cat that is just like this. Passed away recently, but he was huge. His name was Daniel. He has a brother, we still have him, not quite as large. But Daniel, you could sit back and he looked just like Buddha when he lay on his back and try to lick his belly, which he couldn't do. That's about the number of cats that I've had over years. We have 6 now. Before we had 7. They're all unique, very different personalities, and after a while you can hear them. One will cry, you know exactly which one it is. I love all of my cats. I have one that likes to kiss me. Laying in bed, and I get the whole thing on my cheek all the time, waking me up. They do like to wake me up in the morning. If I don't get up exactly at the same time every day, I don't need an alarm clock. I have cats. They come in and attack me, just like this. If I don't respond to the little one that kisses me, then the other one that will bonsai me from the top of the cat shelf, down onto the bed, claws extended, aiming right at the vital body parts, and I get up. And that's when they get fed. That's a great deal like my large cat Daniel, he was about 3 times his size, and he didn't drink. Cats don't usually drink alcohol. Our first cat got into a champagne we had one time. I put it down and he licked a few. And he the next few hours, he was quite happy. Yeah. And if I don't feed them, that's what I get. That's the morning, and then the claws come out. It's really bad. Now, most of the time they're cute, but if you don't get the food to them on time, you get that. They all want to look just like that, fat and happy with their cat food. We used to give them the dry food, and we discovered that it was no good for their digestive systems. They get diabetes and that from the wheat and stuff in it. We switched to a wet food that gives them all the moisture and everything they need, so that they can stand up fat and happy. Right now, these old cats are all very large. Have you noticed that? Once in a while, they'll get really shocked if somebody knocks on the door. They hate the UPS man. They get a truck coming on the block, and they will run and hide. They will jump up just like that. And that's the end of my cat story.
Wasn't that fun?
Yes. That's awesome.
It was good.
Another volunteer, please. Matt.
Should we record this, Matt?
It is.
Oh, okay, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, your choices are a canoe trip, all in the family, or buying a car. Which do you choose?
Let's go with all in the family.
Come over here and look into my eyes, man.
This is the part of the meeting where it gets a little weird.
Are you ready?
I am.
Go.
All in the Family. Now, we've all seen the show All in the Family, hopefully. Some of us are maybe younger than others in the audience, but for those who have had the pleasure of seeing All in the Family, you know about Archie and his wife, who's always been pretty much downgraded by Archie. Now, Archie came from a family of red suits. Archie, right here on the left, always wore a not a tie, but the bow tie, just because he thought that was the proper way to dress and show the respect for the rest of the church groups. Now, Archie, when he lost his hair, he actually gave some of that hair to his wife and to his When he was losing his hair, the hair was actually coming out of the other ends, as well as the other family members. When Archie actually had his hair episode, some of it actually came out in a really weird fashions where a cockfighting champion from down the street actually inherited some of the hair in a fashion where it actually resembled him as a rooster. Now the hair that Archie was then, that he actually gave down to the rest of the branch of his family, all came out in really weird fashions where in the 80s that hair became a poof ball, as you can see on some of the family members, especially the females. Wow, Archie had a big family. Now the family tree for Archie's family obviously bore a lot of males on one side of the family, all from one branch of the family. Now, when the family photos back in the 80s and the 90s, when Kiss was very popular, Archie's family at that point became very fascinated with the face painting, and the focus came from the hair down to the face paintings now. So face became the focus as opposed to the hair. Wow. One of Archie's sons at that point and had his own family. Now, he was a nudist, and he really promoted that, but his family wasn't really too fond of that, so he used to always just basically hide them behind his, using them as the hiding towel for his special shots. Finn. Now, fins were the next branch. Was the next thing that his family started to grow. That would be the next episode. Thank you. Ooh, that's hard.
Who else would like to try one? A lot of you, Emily. Yes, yes. Okay. Do you choose buying a car, or do you choose a canoe trip? I'll do buying a car. Buying a car, okay.
Come on over, Emily Grimberg.
It's fun. It's hard. But it's awesome.
Come on in.
Your car is ready, whenever you are.
I used to live in the mountains of New Hampshire, in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, and if you've ever driven on a mountain road, it's a very different experience, especially the ones that are steep and going downhill. So it's nice to have a lot of vehicle weight behind you, because if you crash, you've got all of that protection to help you out. Unfortunately, depending on what the other vehicle is, you might be left with a fly splatter on your windshield when you have a really big car and you hit a really little car. Something kind of like that. The problem with that kind of a crash is that the cars never separate. They become kind of like conjoined vehicles, and insurance is really expensive. But then I grew up a little bit more, and I decided I'm done with the big cars. I want something really sleek, smooth, sporty. So I went with a little red race car. The insurance bill on that sucker was something else. But it was a really great candy apple red car, and it was a lot of fun to drive, and I got a lot of attention on the roads, and a lot of tickets as well.
That's what it was like.
Then I went through this cat period of my life where I was officially the cat lady. I actually did at one time have 7 cats at the same time. When you take 7 cats to the vet, you kind of end up with a catmobile. It takes about 2.5 weeks to get the fur out of the car because they just shed everywhere. Your car ends up looking like that. Then I went through the period of, the tailgating. It's all about going to the ball game grill and getting out. It's a hassle to tote that grill. Why not have a grill that's built in the car? You don't have to add all that equipment and haul it out in the trailer and all that stuff. It just makes life so much easier. Or to grill on the back end of your vehicle. And the tailgating parties are just incredible. Sometimes you end up with a few too many tailgaters. Gets a little crowded in there. Sometimes they fall off on the sides of the car. It can be a bit of a challenge. But all in all, having the grill in the back of the car and the people in front of the car balances out the weight of the grill. So nice. And they had Then along came the day of the smart car. The cars that were easy enough to park that we could pick them up and put them wherever you want. You don't have to do that parallel parking thing anymore where you go forward, turn, go back, and hope you don't hit the guy back. You just kind of get out of the car, pick up the car beside you, and just squeeze it into that little small spot that's too small anyway.
Oh, cool.
And then sometimes you end up with a really bad car. For those of you who ever watched the Cosby Show, do you remember the time when his daughter came home and wanted a car and she got the D for school? This is the kind of car he bought her. When she came out, she said, "What kind of a car is that, Dad?" His answer was, "That's a D car."
And I am now looking for a volunteer for the very last one about a canoe trip. Toby.
I volunteered. Thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
I would choose
Yeah,
the
I
canoe
did.
trip, please.
You know what? We were lucky. We have 1 ticket left for the next canoe trip.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Oh, Titanic canoe rental.
And it's leaving right now.
I went canoeing with my children. I have 3 little boys. 2 of them are rambunctious, but they're old enough to go. They said, let's go canoeing. I said, that'd be fantastic. My oldest one said, that Titanic, that's one that sunk, right? Because there's icebergs. And I said, well, we live in Florida. There's not going to be any icebergs. We get there, and we said, look, it's beautiful. It's serene. My middle child says, I think that's an alligator. It's not an alligator. There's no icebergs. There's no alligators. We're going to go out. Look, there's no holes. It's all safe. It's good. Your mom is going to take care of your little brother, and we're going to go out on the lake. And my son, who's 9, says, I saw this show that says when we go out canoeing and fishing that we should drink beer. So, did you bring beer, Dad? And I said, okay, first, I don't really like beer, and I don't want you to acquire a taste for it quite yet. My 6-year-old goes, well, I have one. Where did you get a beer? I said, Mom said it was for you for fishing. These were my grandparents. They were professional canoers. They were speedsters. This was at the Helsinki Olympics. And this is actually literally the first color picture that ever happened. That canoe on the side, that is the canoe that we were in when we went over the falls. And I'm going to miss that middle child. He had the beer. So, and this is me. I'm the only one left in the boat. The middle one fell out right away, and the oldest one, I had him by the foot, but in the last minute I said, well, somebody has to live through this to tell the story. And I don't know if I can tell you what happened, but it was awesome. Like, really, I was sad. I was sad for a moment. I got my kids. And then I was like, whoa, great high! It was so fun. Just for a moment. It's that moment where you know you're going to die, but it's like, whoa! Oh, it was like skydiving, only wetter. And I lived, obviously, but I wish I had died. Because this is how I sent my dad away. He had died years before. You should really canoe.
Awesome job. Great job.